answering questions, and just kind of allow us to kind of step in and lean into who we are and grow and thrive as well as flourish in our business. So as you move through this group, please make sure you lean in and you post and ask questions. And if somebody's asking a question, if you have any insight, please respond and comment, right? That's how we all can share the knowledge we have. Knowledge is not meant to be held, it's meant to be shared, which is one of the intentions behind these weekly live trainings with you. My history, you're likely, for those that are new, are saying like, so who are you and why are you doing this? As a coach, I've been coaching for over 18 years, small business, startups, those that are looking to scale. I come from a corporate background as well as a small business background. I grew up in a small business. My parents owned a small business. So from the time I was 4, I was running business with my parents, basically. So good morning, Leah. So that's kind of who I am. And I bring a wealth of knowledge with that firsthand experience, as well as the mind, body, spirit interconnection. And I've done this from the very beginning as a Reiki master teacher and a cranial sacral therapist. We really look at that mind, body, spirit and how they rely on each other, right? That's interdependent. There's not codependency, it's an interdependency. So we want to make sure we're taking all that in as we are working on our business and growing our business. Today's topic was not going to be lead generation. I'm going to be really honest. I was thinking holidays, craziness. Let's dive into some, productivity tools or, time management tools. But the last 2 or 3 days, the theme that has really popped up is lead generation. How do I expand my reach? How do I improve my sales, right? Because leads ultimately lead to sales. That's why they're called leads. So I wanted to I just kind of threw that out the window and thought, today we'll talk about the lead generation and an approach that a lot of people will use, but you may have heard the term, you may not have, and it's called a honeypot. And that's what we're going to break down, which is why I kind of, named it that sticky and sweet. And there's also a song that talks about that too. That kind of came to mind as I was thinking about today's topic. But we're going to look into what is a honeypot from a lead generation. Why do you need one? Where are you going to put it? And how does it improve? What is it you're going to do with it, right? To do lead generation, anything to do with marketing, you have to have a plan. You can't do it without a plan. We can, throw stuff at the wall like spaghetti and see if it sticks. Chances are it's going to just slide right down because there's no plan to hold it up, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of break down what a honeypot is and really allow you to put together some sort of strategy with your lead generation. Okay. So if I were to ask you guys, and if you're watching live, awesome, I see Leah. If you are watching the replay, make sure you comment so I can get notified. Cross my fingers that Facebook actually notifies me properly. If I were to ask you guys your confidence level from a lead generation, how confident are you that you are successfully capturing the leads that come to you and putting them to work for you? What's your confidence level? 1, I don't even know what I need to do. I know I need leads. I just don't know what to do. I don't know how to get them. I don't know what to do with them. 10, meaning you have your steps all in play and you are capitalizing and leveraging the information you are collecting from that. Good morning, Sarah. Right. So where's your confidence level when it comes to having a lead generation system in place? 1, not even a thing. 10, you've got it down pat. Where would you guys be? And there is a delay. So for those that have never joined us on a live before, I am on my computer. I have my phone where I watch for the comments, and there's a delay. So when you see me kind of pause a little bit, it's because I'm waiting to see if comments come up. And that's why you kind of see me looking back and forth a bit. Okay, a honeypot. What is it? Right? A honeypot is basically something that you are going to put together that is sweet enough that your potential clients, your ideal client, notice it and want it. They want something that sounds sweet to them, right? And then it's sticky enough that they're going to want to give you something in exchange for whatever it is that you are providing. It's always an exchange of energy, right? With that, that leads you into what do you do with the information you collect when you have successfully had your leads stick to that honeypot. So where do you put your honeypots? Where do you put your lead generations, right? It can be a website pop-up. It can be Facebook groups, Instagram, social media, TikTok, your call to actions, right? So what makes your honeypot sweet? Thinking about your perfect client, right? We always go back to that avatar, that perfect client. And if you have not done your avatar yet, if you've not dove in and really gotten to know who you're talking to, that's number one. You have to know. You have to know the language they speak. You have to know where they are on the internet, if they are or they aren't, right? You need to know your client so well that you could cook them a meat, like their favorite meal. That's what you want to liken it to, okay? So what's their pain point? Your honeypot, that gift, that solution has to solve the pain point. If you are in a service industry, if you're in a luxury brand industry, we've kind of talked about the difference, right? Luxury brands are more about fulfilling a desire. So your honeypot, that gift, is going to fulfill a desire for that client. So when you think about that, what's the one pain point or one desire that your client could use a solution to that is slightly independent? So when we say slightly, you want them to be able to have some sort of immediate action that they can take where they feel like, oh, this worked. I got this. I was able to implement it. I was able to solve my problem or feel fulfilled, but I still need more. What would be that one piece that you can think of off the top of your head? So as coaches, as consultants, right, you're looking at time management. If you are working with mompreneurs, it's, decision making and juggling what they need to do between home and life and work, right? So what is the one thing that you can speak to with that honeypot that they can take away and feel fulfilled to a level that they're like, she gave me a lot of value? Because remember, what you're creating, what you're wanting to use that lead generation, that lead magnet for, is to show your value, to show your expertise, for them to be able to, remember that know, like, and trust, for them to just not know you, but move into that like and begin to really trust you. So what does that look and feel like for you? What solutions or strategies do you have that you could offer in exchange for that valuable information? Remember, we give our email address. We're inviting you into our inbox, and that's a high value spot. And we won't even get started on all those, cold emails that we get, right? Especially right now with Black Friday, and we're inundated with sales and stuff like that. But on the regular, that inbox is coveted. If they give you their email address, they really want to make sure that they're getting something of value in return. So it could be a checklist, right? So I know, Leah, you're in insurance. So when you think of a lead magnet for your business, right, your goal is to help them come to the decision of taking that step and investing in themselves for insurance. So with that, what could you provide? You could provide like a checklist as far as, do they have all their ducks in a row? Right? And then what is the solutions that go along with? Something that they can perceive as valuable and that's implementable right away. So if you are a social media manager, you could be giving them like a social media matrix that shows them what engagement they want to be looking for. Something simple that they can implement. Website builder, a checkpoint of like 10 things that your website needs to have in order to be SEO friendly. So when you're thinking of those honeypot pieces, you're wanting to make sure that when they see the value, they walk away with value. It's got to match, right? So if you're putting the presentation out that this is a solution for this, and they give you that, they better get that, right? So when they download or they access that piece of value that you're giving them, it has to match what their expectation is. So that's why it's sweet, right? That's why with the honeypot, it's got to be sweet. They've got to be able to say, it's great. I like this. This was really good. And it's sticky enough that they want to stick around because they need you. They can't do it by themselves completely. So sweet enough where they're going to give you their information in exchange for that piece, worksheet, workbook, checklist, recipe, anything, right? That they think there's value in exchange for their contact information. Once they get it, now you want them to be sticky. You want them to stick around. You don't want them to jump in, get that little freebie, and then jump out and say, thanks, see you later. So what is it within that freebie that you're providing to them that will satisfy them enough, but not give away the bank? That they have to come back to you and say, this was really good, but I really need help because what I realized after this is I can't do this by myself. I really need you to help guide or help me put together a plan or help me to protect my family, right? So what does that look like? What does that stickiness look like? You want to lead them down a path where they know what the next steps are. You make it simple. And that can be as easy as at the end of, right? So all of the workbooks and worksheets that we use for lead generation and lead magnets, the last page is always what's next. And we give them 3 or 4 options of different things they can be doing that are tied into what it is they just did, right? So thinking about that, knowing what you could be providing, what would be the next steps for them to keep them in the pot, right? Your CRM, right? Customer Relation Management System, that is the pot. You want to keep them in your pot. What's the next steps that you want to lead them down? For most people, most instances, it's to become a customer, buy a product, do a service, buy a coupon, whatever, right? Whatever that looks like, whatever your business is, the next step is to become part of your business, whether it be a customer or client, right? Because then as value continues to grow with that person, then loyalty kicks in and you start to have repeat business. So what happens to those people in, right? And there's a reason it's called a funnel when we start looking at it from a sales funnel perspective, right? The very top of the funnel is that freebie, is your honeypot, that gift. And then as they are qualified, they go down the funnel further, which is what's making them sticky, because you keep providing value to that person where they see you as the solution, the perfect solution for them. The reason they want to do business with you is because of X, Y, and Z. And that makes it sticky and continues to flow. But we also know how many times, so I'll ask you guys, how many times does it take on average for somebody to go from a cold lead at the top of your funnel down to actually taking action and partnering with you or buying your product? What's the number of times they need to interact with you, your information, before they make a decision? What is it that you guys think? What's the average? Do you guys know? And if you know from your own data, what is that? So if you have data available that you review, what's the data? What does that tell you? How many times, how many touches does your lead, cold lead, need before they become a client or a customer? On average, you're looking at 7 to 10 times. So when we think of 7 to 10 touches, and that's not just you showing up in their news feed on social media, the touch is an interaction. So it could be them a comment on one of your posts, liking, downloading that freebie. You're sending an email, opening your emails. So with that, 7 to 10 times, how are you getting yourself, remember, sticky, back in front of them to take them from that know, like, into trust and partnering? What does that look like for you? Because remember, when we're going into marketing and lead generation, you're doing it with a plan. You have to have a strategy. So this is all the stuff, the conversations, the development that you need to work through when you're thinking about bringing in customers or clients, right? The end game is that lead becomes a client. How do we get them there? What's our strategy? Knowing the end game, we can work backwards. What's the action they need to take to say yes and partner with? That's going to allow you to build the other pieces in the funnel. So when we're doing the funnel and you're doing that freebie, what is the information you want to collect? Because that's going to help you with that end game. And this is going to depend on what you feel or perceive the value is for your freebie. If you believe it's a higher value product or service, whatever that looks like, then you can ask for more information, right? So especially with SMS messaging now, right? Somebody to give you their cell phone number, that is like they're inviting you into your home, right? Kind of thing. So you're going to ask for their name and email minimum, but to ask for their cell phone number, you need to make sure you know why you're collecting the information you're collecting and how you're going to use it. So collecting a cell phone number, a mobile number, depending on, some people say cell phone, mobile. What would be the end game with that? Would it be to get them into your text messaging marketing piece, to do follow-up phone calls, What does that look like? What is that information going to be used for? And how are you going to use it? Knowing the level of value it holds. And the same with their email, right? They're going to give you their email. The first thing that's going to happen is what? You're going to send them a thank you. Here's your freebie, right? With a link to download it, access whatever that looks like. But then what's the next step? And I'm chuckling at the auto text here at the bottom. Right? So what would be the next step? Because remember, we're looking at that 7 to 10 touches. So the first touch is they're saying yes to your freebie. The second touch, right? Because now they've given your email and or phone number, whatever data you're collecting. So that's the first. The second is they're going to get the email with that thing that you're providing, that freebie, and they open and download it. That's the second touch. So now you have 5 to 7 more times you want to be in contact with them. So a great rule of thumb is 2 days later or the next day after right? So the email goes out that day, the next day or the day after, it's easy enough for you to send a follow-up email and say, hey, Sarah, I saw that you downloaded it. Do you have any questions? Here's a link again, just in case you had trouble downloading it yesterday, right? That's the third touch. What do the other touches look like? What do you want to do with those touches? How do you want to interact with them? Do you want to send a third email with a call to action to, if you have your own Facebook group or you have your own membership site or you have an event, to invite them to the event, to invite them to join you wherever you may be? What does that next step look like? Because remember, this is about high value. What other valuable pieces are you going to share with them to keep them stuck in your pot and not jump out and unsubscribe and leave? And there are those, like, let's be honest, there are those people that have no interest, but they will take the freebie because that's something of value to them. But I want to remind you, just because they may have jumped ship immediately after they got that freebie doesn't mean they're not, good morning, April, that they're not still sticking around in other ways. So they may go from warm when they give you the information to cold, but they're not out of the picture completely. You want to remember that they could always come back, right? We can always change our mind and come back. So what do those other touches look like? What other options and opportunities do you have within your business, product or service or otherwise, that you can provide value to those people? What does that look like for you guys? Because as we gain their trust and their permission to continue to communicate with them, the higher the chances are that they are going to convert and become a client or customer. So you've identified the pain point or the desire you want to fill with your product or service. You've created a freebie that gives them a solution, but not like a final solution, right? Enough to satisfy them, but interested enough that they still want to keep coming back, that they see the value or the exchange of what they've given you, right? Phone number or email. It's sticky enough where they stay, they download it, and then as you keep providing the right next steps for them to follow, they get down through to convert. So your strategy starts to look at between that point of contact when they give you the information and when they convert. That becomes critical. What are the questions you have right now when you're thinking of that movement and moving those leads through the funnel from the stickiness into converting? What questions do you have? So for me personally, I always struggled with, what do I have that's of value that I can continue to provide to them? I really struggled with that because I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to share. Everything I have is value, right? Like, I don't know. And there's that question. I don't know. And every single one of us goes through that. So leaning into the services or products that you provide, what are some of the tips and tricks or tools you can share that speak to that perfect client, that speak to those people that are in that funnel, that are in your communications? That's part of the brainstorming that you need to do and providing yourself the opportunity to sit back and actually have a conversation with yourself or with your business partner or with a friend and bounce ideas around and brainstorm, what does that look and feel like? And just as with other marketing, when you're looking at that lead generation, that funnel from the honeypot down, once it's in place, you need to go back and revisit, right? Okay, so April's asking, how do you decide between what to give free and what to charge for? That's a great question. So it comes down to, what is your product or service? And you don't want to give away everything. So April, if I remember correctly, website design, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's something to do with website design. It's been a few months since we've chatted, so I think that's what it is. So for you, it would be, if I go under that assumption, that you could be giving them tips about SEO, how to improve their SEO on their website. And what does that look and feel like? Or it could be, what are the 5 main elements of a website? In order for you to have a strong website, what are the 5 main things? Event productions, including web design, social media, right? Okay, well, right. I forgot about the event design, the event productions. Right. So from a web design perspective, those are a couple of examples. From an event production side, it could be, what are the top 10 things you need to do? What are the steps in order to have a successful event? What are the 10 steps you need to make sure you take? And it's like a checklist. And the goal with something like that for you, April, is to give them enough that they have to come back and say, oh my gosh, step number 3, I don't know where to get a tent. I need a tent for my event. I need chairs. Where do I get that? And they're going to want to come back to you, because then you can say, oh, we recommend you use X, Y, and Z, or that's a service we actually provide, right? So you can give them enough, but your services then start to look, you're charging for the solution. Does that make sense? Good morning, Cindy. I'm waiting to see if April's typing. Awesome. Okay, perfect. So that was helpful. Good. So that's an example, right? So when you're looking at what is that lead magnet? What is that honeypot? You want to speak to them, give them something that they feel they can use right away. But then they leaves them with questions where they need to come back to you to find more information, to figure out what the solution is, or to know how to implement that step. The key with the permissions is, this was a conversation I had yesterday with a young lady, right? Depending upon where you live and work, depending upon where your clients are, you need to make sure that you are adhering to the rules and regulations. So if you are here in the States, but you're working with somebody over in Europe, you have to be aware of the requirements of personal information and make sure you adhere to those. So as you're putting together this lead magnet, your honeypot, part of the research is knowing, right, when we talk about the avatar, and some of us, yes, we can do international, but for some of us, it's very local, right? It's in this geographical area or within that state or within just this country, depending upon what you sell and or provide for services. But you want to make sure that you double check that there isn't anything you need to be doing differently if you do cross an international border for that. And that's just like a CYA thing, because it did come up in a conversation yesterday when we were talking about it. And I just want to put that out there. Questions around creating a honeypot. I am going to see, let's see here. I got to get that. Oh, there. Okay. I'm going to, I want to share. They changed it. Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what I need to do? That's what I need to do. So I'm just going to share with you guys. I need to go to that screen. I need to have the screen up in order for it to get there. There we go. Okay. So this is, I moderate another group, and so I do live trainings in there as well. So I've created a honeypot for each of the live trainings that I do. And this is one of the web pages that they come to, right? So what you're seeing is, right, they're going to complete the information below. So the information I'm collecting, I want to know, because what is my goal? My goal is to have conversations with these people, right? So just like all of you have that opportunity to do a free 15, 20-minute strategy session with me, I want to be able to provide that to these people that are willing to download the product. So the value is having the opportunity for that 15, 20-minute conversation. So I'm going to ask them for their phone number, because why? It's a high value opportunity, right? And then would you be interested? And this is how I get their permission to then continue the conversation. So don't be afraid on your forms to ask for the information you need so that you have a complete visual of the person who's coming into your funnel, that lead magnet. So yeah, so that's, I just wanted to show you guys that. Because that becomes important when you start to implement what you want to do with your lead generation and the information that comes in, right? So when we talk about that strategy and knowing what the end game is, right? So as a coach, my end game is to what? Clients, right? That's obvious. I'm a business coach. I want to coach people. That's my passion. So as I'm collecting leads, my focus is making sure I'm providing value as I'm collecting information as we go along, right? Again, we're putting them through that know, like, and trust as part of your funnel. Questions around your own situation regarding a honeypot. So April had asked as far as, where's that line between free and charging, which is super important. For us, we've identified, I think it's 8 different workbooks that are part of the Pro Tools in the membership site as something that are valuable that we would like to share and gift to people. So we are providing those as part of our honeypots, right? So you can identify part of your product, part of your service that you're willing to gift in exchange for the final product, which is, right, the final decision, which is to partner with you or buy your product. So any questions around that, what that looks like? And this is why I always have either a cup of tea or some water to drink. So that way I'm doing something while I'm waiting for the delay to kick in. Okay. There's no questions. Then we might call it good. If you have questions afterwards, or if you're watching the replay and you have questions, drop them in the comments, reach out, slide into my DMs, ask away. Okay. And the Black Friday is going on for the month of November for over on the membership site, which is, I think, an amazing deal. 3 hours of group business coaching a month for a year. So that's like, what is that? 3 times, like 36 hours of group business coaching, plus all the pro tools, the daily insights, the courses. Super deal at 50% off right now. So that's an amazing Black Friday deal. I'm excited to be able to offer that. And then tomorrow's my birthday. So I just might have to do something special for my birthday for you guys. We'll see what I can come up with. So no questions. I'm kind of biding time to make sure if you guys have questions, you can drop them in the comments too. Then we'll call it good. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you. And we'll see you next Tuesday. Again, I don't know what the topic is. Like today, I thought I was going to be talking about something different and I decided to change it last minute. So I appreciate you all being here and gifting me your time. Thank you. I hope this was very helpful, and reach out with any questions. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful day.